All right, guys, we have a funded trade recap here. So let's basically get straight into what we got here. So y'all guys know I mark out my 2 a.m., my 5 a.m., and 8:30 a.m. here, and then also I mark out the lowest point between these two times. I mark out the highest point between these two times here. So as soon as the market opened, we start off strong with some bearish price action here. We open below the 2 a.m. So I know today was gonna be I'm gonna take longs today. Well, my bias was for today gonna be longs. So we open with a nice 5 minute candle to the downside here, and we continuously make 5 minute candles to the downside here. We make one doji candle here as well. So we're starting off with three strong black candles. I know we have this doji candle, but I'm not really worried about that because I mean, just look at that. It's just kind of small, but I mean, it also does give me, we're also seeing some, some bullish price action there, but I want to see some manipulation first before we start taking longs here. So we start off some strong with some bearish price action here. I see that we keep touching up into here, but I see that we're touching into here. Well, I mean, we're showing some confluences towards bullish price action, but we're gonna get into that here in a second. So I see this right here. So now I'm gonna scale off because first of all, we're already showing some manipulation. We're showing some strong bearish price action. That's what I like to see when I like to take longs here. So let's get it. Let's scale down to a 1 minute time frame here, and let me scrunch this down real quick. So we're starting off a little bit strong here. We do have some. We touch into here a little bit. I mean, we're just kind of chopping right here. This looks. See, y'all guys don't want to trade this. That is very nasty price action right there. That is straight garbage. But where I have this gap in mind that's coming into here because bullish orders were filled there, and I'm seeing this as a point of interest here because I know if we break above this point right here, I know that we are going to long, but I want to get in early before we even touch this point here. So I pretty much wait until this candle forms so we can break out of this. I mean, this is like pretty horrible. I mean, we're just pretty much this consolidation right there, and that just looks really nasty. And then we do have one point to where we do, break down a little bit there. So I'm like, okay, maybe that might be another form of. Okay, so coming back into it, I have this point of interest in mind here. We're inversing this. We're inversing this gap to the downside there. So at this point, bearish, sell position does come into mind here, but I'm still holding strong to my bias here because opening below here, like 90% of the time on my strategy, if we open below this point here, I know that we're going to eventually come up here, and if I scale up onto a higher time frame here, I'm always gonna hit up here on my 5 a.m. here, as you can tell, but I ain't holding a position that long. I mean, I might be holding a position. Look, when do we start this position? At like 9:13, I exit this position, right at like 9:25. So I mean, that's what 30? No, not even 30. Not even that long. Um, I'm out of this position at like 9:25. Something like 20 minutes maybe. Not even that. But okay, back into it. I still have this position in mind here. We do come off here, and I'm like here. I feel like this is a breaking point there because that's a solid 1 minute candle towards longs that I wanted to take there. So I do enter there, and then I should have a picture that pops up here. So you guys can see the funded account, and you can guys see how much I made it on this funded account. I think I made like $1,204, I think. But yeah, that's a funded account for you. That I'm still in the evaluation phase, but you know, I always like to take good trades there, and I always like to doesn't matter if it's an eval, it doesn't matter if anything really. I only stick to my trading plan. Doesn't matter if it's eval or standard live, but always got to take decent trades. So that was my trade there. So yeah, trading the funded, we're gonna get this thing passed. I'm gonna take a payout from it, and I'm just gonna show y'all my trades that I take each and every single day there. So first bias is that we opened below here, so that's one right there. We started showing some manipulation like here, here, here. just forms of manipulation towards longs there, because that's also one thing. Confluences into entering here. We are, showing forms of inversing bearish gaps here. So that's another confluence. Well, inversing that gap, I guess you could say there. And then this was also an entry because we finally decided to break out of this, and we decided to, you know, break above that. So I knew whatever would break here, that's the way that we're going. That's the direction that we're going to trade in. And I knew as soon as we break above this, we were going to just pretty much fly past it. So that was my trade. Took it on NQ. Thank you, Nasdaq, for helping me get my funded there and having some decent price action. Other than that right there, but you know that happened there. So that was it pretty much for the trade recap. Um, just sticking to my trading plan. That's really it. Y'all guys just need to stick to y'all's trading plan. Don't do nothing crazy. Don't just randomly press buy and sell. I mean, that's terrible risk management right there. And if you're doing that, then obviously you need to get your psychology in check there. And then I don't even know why you're on the charts, because you just go straight back to demo if you're just randomly press buying and selling there. And then you don't even have a bias. So, I always come in the market with a strong bias. I look at the indexes and see which ones either more bearish or have a stronger towards bullish price action, and that was Nasdaq today. So that told me something as well. But I mean, obviously, you shouldn't just go based off of the percentages there. But I saw that ES was down 0.15, and Nasdaq was already up 0.25%. So Nasdaq was already showing some strong bullish price action. But I mean, you shouldn't go just based off of that there. But and yeah, that kind of and also looking at the charts, and then also my strategy as well. So just some things that you should come in with a mindset. You shouldn't have any emotions when you come into trading, because that could lead to over leveraging and just over trading, and that's never good. So that's another thing that I always come into the charts with. So that always helps me as well. And yeah, that's pretty much it for that. I'll catch you guys in the next trade recap for the funded. So that's going to be it. Catch you guys later.